Audio Jungle.
Welcome to Grow Smarter, your go-to podcast for practical strategies, insights, and proven tips to elevate your business with HubSpot. We're here to help you work smarter, scale faster, and achieve meaningful growth. So today I have with me digital content specialist Conan Green and marketing director Megan McKnight. Welcome.
Hey.
Happy to be here.
And today we are going to talk about content and specifically the lifespan. How does the content impact? How does it affect your marketing? But also, what is the lifespan of content? And what do we need to think about and consider when we're creating content? So this could go deep. I'm hoping to go deep and get some really good insights here so that people can go away with something they can action today. So I guess to start off with, can you just explain, Conan, the concept of content lifespan?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in this day and age, content is absolutely everything. Content is currency, and you want your content out there and to be as relevant for as long as possible. So lifespan is the right term. And I think, you know, when it comes to breaking down, let's define the lifespan of a piece of content that is completely based on, for us, how useful it is, really. How relevant is that piece of content? We often say at Pixeled, really, content equals intent. So what is the intent of that person at that time? And are you creating content for them that'll be absolutely valuable for them, you know, within the space that they're at in their user journey?
Okay. Megan?
Yeah, just I guess what sparked this conversation originally was some stats around how long content lasts, and it does differ by...
When we say last, we're not saying it disappears and explodes like a ticking time bomb.
We're talking about how people interact with it, how it keeps getting put up in front of people.
Yeah.
I guess how the performance, I guess, is probably what we're talking about.
Does it remain valuable to me?
Yeah. So, and I just thought it was interesting that, you know, like if you look at when I was looking at it, I think TikTok was the shortest lifespan and a long form piece of writing, example, a blog, had the longest. And I think it was, from memory, 20 to 30 minutes for the TikTok piece of content and up to 2 years or longer for a long form piece of writing.
I'm a hobbyist TikToker, not very much, but certainly in COVID I was a hobbyist TikToker and a little bit for Pixeled now. And it's very obvious that after the initial bout of, you get good reach to begin with, but then it just stops dead. You don't get a single impression after that point. So yeah, interesting. So what we're saying then is that there's different lifespans, different lengths that a piece of content is useful or has activity or has eyes on it. So short lifespans and long lifespans, I guess what's the difference between a short, what would a short lifespan piece of content be?
It's interesting to go short and long, and immediately you go, oh, I want the long lifespan content, but actually you want a bit of both. But to speak in depth about the shorter stuff, there's a great reason for short-term content. I would say brand awareness, really. If we're talking about a platform like TikTok, brand awareness is, that's an amazing opportunity to just get your brand out there. There's very little that you're, really going to say about, any detail. You're just going to go out there and go, this is kind of who we are. It's very surface level, the start of a conversation with a customer. That being said, interestingly, the search bar on TikTok is actually starting to challenge other search, your Googles and your YouTubes, in terms of how people, especially younger people, are actually finding information.
And it's getting older. The audience is actually getting older. And I hear of people my age, I'm old, they plan their holidays on TikTok.
You've heard of the over 40 group on TikTok?
I have not.
Taking over at the moment. I have to admit that I am part of the target market there. But I've been served that a good few times on TikTok in the last.
Only just.
Yeah, that's fair. But they knew. But there's a lot of content out there going, I think this is the hashtag, the 40 gang, the 40 TikTok gang or something, where 40-year-olds are going, hang on a second, are you on here too? Which is a very exciting, possibility, especially as marketers, because we go, the more they realize how relevant the platform is to them, the more we have the opportunity to, to get that brand awareness content through to them.
My only fear with TikTok is this pending potential ban from America. That's the only thing that scares me. But otherwise, it's a fantastic platform, fantastic reach.
Especially if you can dance.
It's very engaging and it's interesting because do you know what probably drives that though? Video.
Yeah.
Video content. And people are ingesting, I don't know if that's the right word, content. Digesting, ingesting, taking information in so quickly.
Yeah.
And no one really wants to spend a lot of time unless they're really deep in the process. So
our brains are slowly but surely reducing our attention spans. Like we are getting less and less ability to sit there and concentrate on a single thing because I think we are attuned to these social platforms. It's trained our brain to seek that dopamine quick hit and move on.
Yeah.
Find the next one.
Yeah. People have so much on in their lives, and so the quicker they can get content, the better. And that poses a real problem for businesses because, businesses pay to get content produced and sometimes that can be quite expensive. So I guess that comes back to how much money you actually invest in these different forms of content as well. And so when we're doing social media, particularly for organics, even for ads as well. Ads is probably you'd want to invest a little bit more time because obviously that has a longer lifespan and it'll get out to more people. But for your organic, you don't want to spend a lot of money creating that content. So, there's no need to do professional shoots or, just use your phone, get the content, send it through.
Fact, some of the professional ones don't perform very well.
Correct.
I was going to say, everything in me wants to go, no, invest as the cutthroat creative. Invest in, in
production
the
value.
production value of your organic as well. So it looks great. I'm completely blown out of the water by some of the stuff that was shot in someone's bedroom and 4.5 million people saw it in an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that the key is just mixing it up, not having the same kind of content. So not just having all still images, not just having words on a Canva template.
Yeah.
Not just having, people connect with people. So the more images you can have of people within your business,
real people,
not stock images.
Yeah.
If you have to use stock images, then fine, but it's obviously not the preference. So
warts and all kind of look
correct.
into the business. Yeah.
Very organic, back of house, like bloopers. We're going to do some.
It's almost like the exact opposite of the 80s and advertising. If you think about everyone in a yacht and, there was this idea that the advertising, it was just everything was perfect. And it's interesting. It's the first time I really thought about it. But as you speak, we've done a complete shift to go, people want real. We want to know the...
Although if you're building a website, that's when you want some professional photos. If you've got a premium brand and you want to portray that on your website, then you need to have professional photos. I wouldn't be doing...
But even then, there's they need to be authentic.
Correct.
So professional is good.
Still,
it's the quality of the photo, but it needs to be of real people, not just fake models with a headset on, that kind of look. So
I've seen quite a few brands who are really clever as well with that. I want to say it's Lacoste, but I could be wrong, who are quite strategic about going, okay, on something like an Instagram, it's way shinier. It's all the pro shots.
Oh, yes.
And then when you get to TikTok, it's the behind the scenes stuff. That's a little less, organized. Yeah. So it's a bit of a get out of jail free where they win both sides of the audience, but they're playing by their rules, which is really clever.
So what would be a longer lifespan piece of content?
Me.
Would have to say a blog, but no, go for it.
You can go.
Yeah, would have to say a blog. I mean, not just because it's on Megan's amazing image that she found for us that started this conversation, but ultimately, and it's what we said earlier, content must be created around intent. And if the intent of someone at that point is to, for example, get more information about whatever it is on that buyer's journey, then that piece of content that, is a good few hundred to a couple of thousand words long, something I'm going to download and keep with me that I can refer to, throughout this buyer's journey. If you can create a piece of content like that with the knowledge of where someone is on that buyer's journey and how helpful you can be, that's a gold piece of content.
Yeah, and I guess that leads us into what we would call evergreen content, and it's about that piece of content being searched over and over again for years, not just a month or two. Yeah. And so when we create articles and blogs for our clients, our strategy is evergreen content, because if you're spending money on creating this content, you want it to last. Having said that, we do the best of 2025 or the best of whatever the year is. That content is easily repurposed. So you can go back, you should go back every year and repurpose the content that you made that was specific for that period of time.
So an example of an evergreen post that I can think of for one of our childcare centre clients, Child's Play Early Learning Centres, they have an article on child safety, how to teach your children safety.
Yep.
That topic is never going to go out of fashion. As long as kids are born, their parents will be teaching them about safety.
Yeah.
So that one has built up over time and is generating a lot of traffic.
It is.
Yeah.
While you're, while you're on Child's Play, we actually, I think a couple of days ago, we had a really well-performing how much does childcare cost? And that was, I think it was 2021. And so much has changed since then, but it's such a well-performing blog. But we jumped back into it after seeing it up in that top 10 and went, hang on a second, we've got to optimize this for now. And so it's gone off actually, I think, to client yesterday or this morning just to be that much more relevant. But I think what's great, and it starts the conversation about repurposing that we have so often, and whether that's a good or bad thing. But
it's good. Absolutely.
No,
it absolutely is good. Of course it is. But we know that. But
it can feel like a bit of a cheat. It can feel like you're cheating because you're not writing new content. But it is absolutely a gold tactic to use, because why not work on something that's already working? And
cost effective too. Yeah. You don't have to pay to build a whole new blog. You're repurposing. Sorry.
And that's that's why I had even said, is it a good or a bad thing? Of course we know it's a good thing, but there's that potential that clients go, but hang on a second, as you say, you're not writing an entire blog or you're just repurposing something. Well, if the conversation is less about content and more about value, perhaps, and the value that you get out of repurposing it, something that you're doubling down on because it already works. For example, this Child's Play blog. We know that's something that people are searching. We're building onto that. The success that is way more valuable than writing something from scratch.
Yeah, just on that, while you've raised it, like what is the cost of? It's actually a really commonly searched thing. People want to know how much things cost. Yep. And if you look at SEO and how it's evolving and where it was a few years ago, it would have been okay maybe not to answer that question directly and try and drag them into your website and get a phone call. It's not like that anymore. We need to be, with our content, if this is an SEO strategy, we need to be more direct, so that when someone searches for how much does it cost to send my child to childcare, you're first there. And not only are you first there, but you're answering their question, because if they don't see the answer to their question straight away, then they search something else or they go somewhere else. Whereas if you say this is the approximate cost, and you do a range, and there's a breakdown of that cost, they're more likely to click on your piece of content, and that's the content that's going to start winning.
So what goes into that good evergreen piece? Like, I'm thinking, what's the structure of that piece? What are some tips that people can take away to create a really good evergreen piece today?
I know when I'm writing blogs, one of the first things I do is just consider the reader and go, if I was searching, let's stay on the example, if I was searching childcare prices, what would I want to know? And I think it's quite, you bring up such interesting and important factor about this is if you don't say it, another brand will. And, if someone's on that side and they're not getting that answer, they know they can get it from somewhere else. And I think that's made every brand go, okay, well, we better be slightly more forthcoming. And so what we try to do with that specific blog as well is from start to finish, we've got the links in there to jump onto, the VicGov sites where you can literally find out approximately how much, all of the subsidies and all of that information. I always like to, if we're writing something that's evergreen, to almost write something that is the only guide you will ever need on that specific subject. So you put, so much in that it becomes the single source. And to me, that's a great evergreen piece.
At Inbound that Megan and I recently attended, upfront pricing was a key theme, wasn't it?
It was,
many people spoke about it as being one of the critical things to generate leads at the moment, because people want that transparency.
Yeah.
Even to the point of they recommended that everybody should have a price calculator on their website.
Yeah.
A very strong theme. All right, so short lifespan, long lifespan. What should I make?
So if I can use an analogy, think about a relationship with a person, or even just interactions you have with someone, whether it's a friend or a work colleague, anyone. You don't always have the same interactions with them. You don't always have big, long, drawn-out conversations in depth about a particular topic. You have little interactions, you have medium-sized interactions, and they're not always on the phone, they're not always on email, they're not always in person. They differ. And content creation and which medium you use is absolutely no different. Think about it like, building a relationship with someone and how you would do that naturally in person with a friend. That's what you should be doing with your audience, and really understanding what their needs are, what the problem is, and where they are in their buyer journey. They're the key things. And then understanding where they are, like as in, are they on Facebook? Is it more of a B2B thing? Are they on LinkedIn? Where are they in their buyer journey? Are they at the very start where they don't know a lot, so they're really looking for information around how to solve the problem? They may not have even come to the conclusion that they need your product or service.
Might not know they even have a problem.
Well, they might not. And so, I'd be saying that's back in the branding section then, that's pre. But, understanding all of that and then creating the content. If you have a more complex, solution that you need to explain, then, video content is great as well. But also people are so different in the way that they receive communication and the way they prefer to receive communication. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a blog and a video saying similar things, same topic, but you're delivering it in a different way.
Another analogy I've just thought of is if you were trying to marry somebody, you would initially make contact and have some small talk. And
make a joke or two.
Something very short. You may have a short exchange. Then you might have a slightly larger conversation. You might go on a date. You might go on multiple dates. Then you might get to meet the family, and the family get to see if you're the right fit or not. And then eventually you can ask for the big proposal. Yeah.
Pretty much.
So how do we measure? We know that, in the B2B world, but all marketing in general now, there's so many interactions when customers are making a decision to buy.
Yeah.
And, a blog, it's hard to know sometimes whether the blog is worth it or not, because it's not like that one blog generates business on its own. It's part of the bigger, broader puzzle, right?
Correct.
So what metrics, how do we measure performance, and how do we know it's working?
Yeah. So I guess it comes back to the goals that you've set and understanding what they are. If you're doing a branding piece, then, the measurement might be around impressions and reach. And so that's how I would measure that piece of content. If it's about if you're in the consideration stage, so if someone's a little bit like kind of in the middle of their decision.
Researching maybe.
Yeah, they know how to fix the problem. Like they know what solutions are out there,
Yep.
and now they're comparing maybe companies.
Yep.
So if that was the case, then the measure I'd be looking for is traffic to your website. Even some inquiries like downloadables. So that would be another
Content offers or
Yeah.
guides or
Yeah.
checklists or...
And then if it's closer to the pointy end where they're making a decision and obviously your goals are to make conversions, whether that be lead generation or making a sale, then I would say that the measures there are conversions. So sales conversions, lead conversions on your website. And in relation to blogs, so most of the blogs that we do are in the investigative stage, so
Yep.
at the start of people's buy journeys, and also in the consideration stage, so in the comparison stage. So that type of content, I'd be looking for impressions, reach, maybe not impressions actually, probably more reach, traffic,
Yep.
and
Maybe engagement rate in Google Analytics 4
Engagement,
is a
yeah.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So time on page,
yeah,
with those kind of metrics.
yeah.
I mean, other bits of content, I don't know if we have time, but other bits of long lifespan content would be things like case studies,
Yep.
white papers, in-depth research.
Yep.
These are all going to be things that might stick around, but for different stages, different times in the buyer's journey.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good example of a long form towards the end of the buyer journey when people are ready to make a decision, a case study, because people want that social proof. They want to know that, you've done these types of jobs for other clients and then it's been a success. So in that case, I'd be looking for conversions, a lead on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just on our clients in particular, I guess for the short form side of things, where are you seeing the most success? What platforms are you seeing with the most success?
So organically, LinkedIn,
Yep.
because their algorithm still allows for that organic reach. And
we have a lot of B2B clients.
We
so
do have
it
a lot
makes sense.
yes,
with that.
yes. So the trick there is basically when you post something, get people to comment, like, and share, and that creates the engagement and gets momentum going. From a paid ads perspective, we're having really, really good success with Meta at the moment and Google Ads as well. But you have to pay for everything on the Meta platform. Organic reach and organic engagement is extremely low. So really your organic page is just about being there and showing potential clients that you're actually active, you're a real business. They want to see a little bit more of your personality. That's what your organic feed's for. Your paid is to go out, find new audiences, retarget existing audiences.
And Conan, any final tips for someone who wants to write that evergreen piece? They want to make it the best. They want it to last for as long as possible. What's the number one thing they should think about?
Look at the title of whatever blog it is that you're reading and add in front of that the ultimate guide to, and write accordingly.
Nice. All right. Thank you, team. That's a lot of good, useful information. Hopefully out there you got something out of that and can take that away and add that to your marketing strategy. Thanks again and see you in the next episodes.
Thank you.
Great to chat.